Hello everyone and welcome back to some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where today we're going to be taking a look at some glitches. Now, the first thing that we're going to be doing is going to Spirit Train, because this track is broken. Now, I went ahead and I decided to choose Kirby and Piranha Plant for my two characters that I'm going to be using. The CPU can be whatever you want, but I'd recommend having Kirby for one of these. Now, the first thing to show off is not really a glitch, but if you jump off the train with Kirby and then down B, he gets pushed into the train, and as you saw right there, he'll sometimes be pushed away from the train, and sometimes he'll actually rotate on the train. It's kind of random if it happens or not, but sometimes he'll get pushed away and weird stuff will happen. And then you get to this. Yeah, I don't think this is intentional. Like, the train tracks I can sort of see, but Kirby being able to stand on a train, now that's something else. As well as being able to fall in between a bomb car and a train, with no space. Now, as you can see, Kirby will sometimes be pushed away from the train, and I feel like that's also not intended. But it's kind of weird to see that. And as you just saw there, Kirby actually rotated, and you can see it a couple of times. And Kirby's not supposed to do that unless he's on a slope. But for some reason he did it there. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to throw Piranha Plant onto the tracks, then I'm going to pause. And yeah. We're both standing on the track without taking damage. Now, at first glance, you might think that, well, maybe that's just because in training mode, which yes, I'm in training mode, well, maybe in training mode, you just don't interact with obstacles. But that's kind of not true. Now also something you might have just seen is I got pushed away from the train even while it wasn't moving. And as well as the fact that items, if you put them on the train tracks when it's paused, they'll actually stay on the tracks until you unpause when they'll actually disappear. But something you just saw is I also fell down and I was laying on the train tracks. Yes, you can charge up attacks, you can lay on the ground, a bunch of stuff like that. But you might feel like, well, an object loses its properties if you go ahead and you are on a pause menu, in training mode even. But, I'll show it in a little bit, but if you go ahead and you look at water, like in the Great Bay Temple, the Great Bay, it still works. I'll go ahead and show that in a minute though. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to throw some Piranha Plants onto the tracks first. And show you, yeah, it does work with every single CPU. That if you just get them all on there, they're trying to get back not onto train tracks. But yeah, all the Piranha Plants all in one spot on train tracks. So, I feel like that's very unintentional. And that's the first glitch out of the way. I would consider those two separate glitches because Kirby being pushed away from the train, rotated when it's moving, I don't feel like that's intentional. As well as the fact that you're able to stand on the train tracks, I also don't feel like that's intentional. Those, I'd say, are two separate glitches. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go select Great Bay. I accidentally thought I was going back to Smash 4, where you would have the stage after the fighters. But there was one last thing that I did need to show though. It doesn't really work well with Piranha Plant, but I'll show it with DK. And that is charging attacks. It's hard to show with Piranha Plant, but yeah, I'll go back and show it with DK in a little bit. So let's go. Now, the reason I choose DK is for two reasons. One, he shows off this pretty well, where you can actually charge the attack on the train tracks, because charging it takes a while. So you can see, yep, charging it works. Another reason is I wanted to show the berry move. And yeah, you might have seen it, but Piranha Plant's pot was actually beneath the train. And normally when you put them on a semi-solid, they'll either fall through or they'll just, the bottom half of them will disappear. But if you go ahead and look, here isn't really the best spot. But as you could have seen before, and I'll show it off a little bit, they'll actually be sticking through the ground. So next, what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and buried him back in here. He took too much damage, so I went ahead and reset him. Got him into position, buried him. That wasn't a very good position. It works better with bigger characters. But yeah. Next, I decided to just go ahead and reset him. Throw him back onto the second train car. Sadly, he went a little bit over. And then I had to wait again. Now, as you can see, if I bury someone in this semi-solid platform, you can't see Piranha Plant's pot. Some of them, he'll just fall right through. I think it just depends on which semi-solid you're doing it on. But for some reason, the semi-solid on the back of the train, you can see the pot. It's weird. Or maybe it's because this is just ground and it's really thin ground. But yeah, it looks weird. But anyway, now I can go ahead and I can show something else off in this stage. Actually, I'm going to go to Great Bay first because I need to show that. Right here. Now water is sort of like the train tracks, where if I go ahead and pause, they should lose their property and I should be able to just either swim indefinitely in it, or I should be able to just float. I shouldn't sink. Or I should even be able to walk on it, right? And you can see I'm swimming, as well as Piranha Plant, and then drown. Yeah, for some reason water retains its properties, like most things. But for some reason, the tracks on Spirit Train just don't apply. And I'll just show it again. Yep. And there we go. And now there's one last trick that I wanted to show. Or one last glitch. Now this one you can't do in the standard Smash Brothers mode. Instead, or you can't do it in training mode, I should say. You can't. The only way to do it is in standard or any other mode besides training. I decided to go with free. Yeah, I decided to go free stock. Choose Spirit Train again. And this time, we're also going to hit Kirby. Because it doesn't really matter, I decided to go ahead and put him on 1. And then we get a Luigi. It doesn't really matter because what we're going to be doing is first we're going to be messing with the camera. As you could have seen, Kirby just is having that same problem where he rotated a little bit. And now the first thing I want to show off is I didn't discover this trick, but yeah, this one trick wasn't discovered by me, but as you can see, the train tracks disappear after a section, and it's just a really rough cut. I don't think that's a glitch, I just think that's an oversight. But then you have this. Kirby is floating off the ground. Now, you might be thinking, well, maybe he's just not. Maybe that's just because you stopped him with the camera before he fell all the way. Nope, by going frame by frame, you can see that is the ground, which is not the ground. So yeah, if you hit the train tracks, you just don't even touch the ground, you just get hit before that. Which I find kind of interesting. And you can even go ahead and you can zoom in and you can see he doesn't move. But yeah, those were just some weird things with Spirit Tracks. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.